Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a not so normal video. I don't usually do these type of videos as far as game reviews, but this is something I want to talk about because I know some of my friends and subs are looking at the game and I want to provide some insight on what Marvel's Avengers has to offer. So without further ado, let's get into it. Shredder! Does Square Enix put the Marvel in Marvelous? Well, let's first look at the gameplay since you know that's what you'll be doing most of the time. The gameplay is not bad in any means and it is quite fun at times, but I feel this is more of a bullet sponge type game than I initially realized. I put it on normal difficulty just so I could get through the game as much as possible. So maybe a harder difficulty would have provided the combat system I was expecting, but honestly the best way to describe the fighting would be comparing it to like the Batman and Spider-Man mechanics. It kind of feels like an off-brand combat system compared to those two games. And again, I had it at a lower difficulty, so you know, take it with a grain of salt. It could have been a lot, what's the word, it could have been a lot more challenging if I probably would have put it on a higher difficulty, but at the same time I was just trying to blow through it so I could actually get a good outlook of how the game feels and everything. Continuing, you have your light attacks and heavy attacks, and it's fun to mix those together and make a combo, but if you're just trying to beat the enemies as quick as possible, then just use constant heavy attacks. There's not much of a timing difference for heavy attacks and light attacks. There might be a slight difference, but heavy attacks do way more damage. I do want to mention one neat aspect of this game, and it's different ways of dealing with enemies per each character. For example, Iron Man can run towards a shielded enemy, and if you press dodge, he'll actually jump over them and you can hit them from behind, just like in the Batman and Spider-Man games, which was really fun. But Miss Marvel and Hulk cannot do that. You actually have to charge up your heavy attack to break the enemy's shields to be able to attack them, which is a pretty cool detail. I think the worst part of the fighting is definitely how the camera works. The game tries to give you prompts to dodge to, and it's not that bad at all, but it seems like the camera is constantly fighting you. What I mean by this is when I see a dodge prompt come up, I'm like, cool, I know to dodge. But the camera is at an angle to where you can't actually see the enemy that's about to attack if they're behind you, so you don't know if you need to dodge immediately. You don't know if you need to dodge here in a couple of seconds, if they're going to shoot a bolt at you, you know? There's another instance where I tried locking onto an enemy, and it's in this clip right here. It never actually locks onto the enemy that is closest to me, which is what I would expect it to do because the enemy is closer to me. I obviously want to take out that enemy that's right next to me instead of the enemy that's over there being taken care of by another Avenger. So one of the downfalls to the fighting mechanics, I feel if the camera was fixed it would be better, but I don't know, it could just be the game. But the camera in itself isn't the worst in open areas, but in enclosed areas like here, I fell multiple times trying to get to the other side using Kamala's swing. And the game, I guess, doesn't register fast enough that's what you're trying to do if you're not looking at it. So what happens? You fall. That's all there is to it. So thankfully there's no fall damage for missing, but it's still kind of aggravating when you have to keep resetting yourself because it doesn't register that's what you're trying to do because you're not looking at the swinging thing. It's nonsense, I feel like. But it's not going to kill the game, but it's also one of those things that are very just aggravating. Quality of life improvements, you could call them. Besides the camera, the characters you can play as are really fun to me. Except Kamala. I don't know what it was about her, but I just did not like playing as her, nor as a character a part of the story. And I know I'm gonna see this, so let me just go ahead and address this now. I am all for strong female characters. I honestly think Black Widow of all the characters was my favorite that I got to play as. I play Destiny 2, and 2 out of my 3 classes are women, so I like the idea of strong female characters. I think it's great in terms of storytelling, but only when it's not forced. I'm looking at you, Captain Marvel, but I'll talk about that in a second. Besides Kamala, I didn't really care for Thor. I saw somebody compared throwing Mjolnir to God of War, and to me, it's not really fair, because a major part of that game was literally built around throwing his axe. So it's kind of unfair to compare it when you have all these other elements going into this game, not just solely focused on throwing Mjolnir. But I also know that they could have polished this attack more. Throwing Mjolnir is satisfying all in all, to be honest, but don't expect to be blown away like God of War's throwing mechanics. Iron Man for me was right after Hulk as far as fun playability. Iron Man's combos were actually pretty great. I love knocking enemies in the air with a "Sure you can!" and then blasting them while they are in the air. The only downfall for me was the exact reason I didn't care for Thor. The repulsor blasts that weren't the super moves or the abilities, they just didn't really capture the feeling of shooting a blast, you know? Hulk was just plain fun. I mean, it's Hulk. What's not to like? Hulk smash everything. That's his gameplay. All this did was make me want a new Hulk game. If they could have taken out all the Avengers and just left Hulk, that would have been fun. Been great. I would have loved it. Now to my favorite character, Black Widow. There's a reason that everyone loves playing as her the most. There was a Twitter feed, I think it was actual Marvel's Avengers, that put it out asking who their favorite character was for the beta. 8 times out of 10 it was Black Widow. And there's a reason. Shooting her guns feel good, where the Mjolnir and the repulsor blast did not. So that was a good change, for sure. Her possibilities are pretty great, to be honest. She's mobile and fast, and she can do all these crazy things, and I like fast. Everything in my life fast, so, pun intended. But seriously, she was just the most fun character to play as besides Hulk, hands down. I'm gonna compare Captain America only because you play as him for like 5 minutes, but if I had to place him, it would be after Hulk, just because throwing the shield was just as satisfying, if not more, than Widow. So there's that. I mean, you want to feel good when throwing Cap's shield, because that's mostly what you're going to be doing anyway. Made it this far into the video, I want to say this before continuing. I did not spend hours and hours to beat the beta and upgrade everyone. I just don't have that kind of time. But I did look at everyone's abilities, so maybe I would feel different about my critiques depending on the upgrades if I had them. But at the moment, with bare bone abilities, this is my opinion. And remember, this is just that, my opinion. To the story, potential is definitely there. No doubt. I'm expecting great storytelling with this game, especially knowing that MODOK is in the game. That's very interesting to me. There's one flaw that I have with the performance of the story so far. It just feels awkward. Fury was talking, and where it should have probably cut to something else or cut to his next sentence, there's like a brief pause for like 2 seconds. And he starts talking again, and like, that's okay, but that's weird, you know? And I'll show you what I mean in this clip.
Hello, Avengers. It's been a while.
Nick Fury.
If you're hearing this, then the worst has happened. I'm gone, and that means I need you now more than ever. I always knew S.H.I.E.L.D. might fall, so I made sure it could also rise again. These are the S.H.I.E.L.D. protocols.
Scene is where Kamala is upset about something that I don't really remember right now, but as soon as the scene is over, she's fine again. And it feels very awkward, but maybe it was meant to be that way. I don't know, it just kind of felt off. Maybe her, you know, A-Day just happened, her emotions are still running high and feeling kind of bipolar-ish, you know, just kind of going through all the emotions of what just happened. And if that's the case, that's cool. But at this instance in the beta, it felt really weird.
Good job, Kamala. That wasn't awkward at all. But now I have my own room on the Chimera. Is this really happening?
The strange dialogue stuff, the story seemed like it would be very epic. To my last point on the story,
Super cool
Kamala
Marvel
Khan.
Avengers stuff.
Marvel is just not likable. They try to make her like MCU Spider-Man, and that's
Maybe it's a
totally
cover?
fine. I love Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I'm a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man guy because that's just what I grew up with, but I really do enjoy Tom Holland's man and the way he brings out that character. Performance of Miss Marvel just doesn't feel legit. She geeks out on the Avengers and the Easter eggs and all that, which is great. That's awesome. It just doesn't feel right. I don't know. Make your own opinion. Here's some clips to show you what I'm talking about.
From Pepper to Tony. I know I shouldn't be freaking out right now, but I'm freaking out. Tony Stark's guitar! Cap's first shield. This was on display at A-Day. You don't open a secret passageway, do you? Looking sharp, guys.
Than those few things, though, the game seems pretty solid. I wouldn't get it day one, but if I got it as a present for like my birthday or Christmas, I wouldn't be upset. But I also wouldn't get upset if I didn't get it, you know? It's kind of one of those games I feel like you can miss out on and not be missing anything. The customization and the RPG elements, though, are there and are a blast to go through. Able to create your own ultimate Avenger. That was my favorite part of all, was the costumes and all the skills you can earn. But yeah, I mean, that's my personal opinion of the game. Do they put the Marvel in Marvelous? I would say they were close. The game feels unfinished and missing a few polishments that would really make the game stand out from any other Marvel game like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But for now, haven't yet, I would go buy Spider-Man before I bought Marvel's Avengers. Just me. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video and my opinion on Marvel's Avengers. The game releases September 4th, so go pick it up, try the game yourself, and make your own opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to share it, that's the best way to support the channel. Go be a blessing to somebody, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.